Hey everyone, it's Calvin, also known as Rummer, and this is a video that I wouldn't usually do on the channel, but recently I had an amazing experience where I got to play a game early through a network test for a game that I'm incredibly excited for, and that game is Elden Ring. There's so many games next year that I'm so excited for, like Breath of the Wild 2, Final Fantasy 16, and of course, Elden Ring. And to be able to play this game a tiny bit early is both a curse and it's a blessing, because I cannot stop thinking about this game now. This experience, for the short time that I've had it, has been glorious, and I can't wait to play more of this. But I did want to talk about my experience with the game and what I felt about the game and the little bit of time that I've had with it so far, because I feel like this game is going to be From Software's biggest one yet, not just in scale, but I think that a lot of people are going to love it, even people that didn't even love the previous Souls games or Soulsborne games. Personally, I've always been a Souls fan since 2011 when Dark Souls came out and went back and played Demon Souls. I played every single Soulsborne Kiro game multiple times, some of those games in the 50s and 60s of playthroughs because I love those games so much. And that's just because these series of games, all of them, have such a deep-rooted place in my heart. But Elden Ring in particular was incredibly fun. So far, at least.
Oh, can't seem to wrap your head around your predicament? It's no surprise. You poor have-nots are a stubborn lot. Fine, then. If you must have a go at it, maidenless as you are, you'll require an education.
Let me just start by saying that this very much is a Dark Souls-like game. It very much feels like Dark Souls. And in a lot of ways as well, you can kind of see the influence from George R.R. Martin, but at the same time, there's so much Miyazaki in this game, and I think that was one of the worries people had. Is this game going to be a Miyazaki game or a George R.R. Martin game? And we pretty much have our answer here with this demo. It's kind of a bit of both, but definitely more Miyazaki than anything because he is the director of this game, of course. With the short time that I've had with Elden Ring's open world, I can really safely say that From Software have a fantastic grasp on what makes a seamless open world feel good to explore. I can compare it to other games because that's kind of like how we explain things in life, and I've never said this before in my life, ever. But this kind of feels like the same magic that I felt when I played my favorite game of all time, Shadow of the Colossus, for the first time. That magic is, I'm going through this world that feels real, that feels seamless, that feels like every single aspect of this world is supposed to be there. Not that it was crafted to be there for a game mechanic, or now you're entering this place because this is the level, or this is the time in the story you have to be here. It really feels like everything is just there for you to explore because it's real, and you kind of just happen to be there in that world, and that's the same feeling I got with Shadow of the Colossus. It's kind of the same feeling that I had with Breath of the Wild, but also at the same time very different, because I feel like with Breath of the Wild and Elden Ring, they're going for two very different things, and that's just 100% okay. Every game doesn't have to be the same, every game doesn't have to be Breath of the Wild, if you know what I'm saying. There's ruined buildings, flooded areas, beautiful broken down cathedrals that are honestly really gorgeous, and a gorgeous beach that I found that for some reason mesmerized me. I stood here for such a long time looking at this, and there's so many reasons that I could have explored other areas, but this beach was exciting to me. So exciting, I actually died trying to make it down there a few times. When I say I was mesmerized by this one strand of beach, I really mean it. This one area where I got to watch the waves crashing in on the sand, for some reason, really got to me. I love how it looks, I love how it feels, I love how it sounds, and honestly in this world, it doesn't feel out of place one bit. It's a beautiful, beautiful aspect of this game, and it's just a tiny aspect of this whole open world that we're going to get to explore. That tiny strand of beach kind of represents what I'm really excited about for this game, and that is being able to explore all these little tiny little nooks and crannies of this world that make this whole big world feel like something. Yes, this game does have waypoints, and I think that was one of the things people were really nervous about in a From Software game, to have waypoints, because it might feel like a chore to explore certain places, or it might feel less natural. I can tell you this right now, that you can choose to not have a waypoint, and you will find your way around this world perfectly fine. I did it for a while just to see if it could be done, and 100% it can be done. But another thing that's really good about that is that it has these beautiful landscapes that lets you find your way back to the areas you were before just by looking at them. At first glancing, you might think that that cathedral looks similar to the broken down building over here, but you can kind of notice distinctive differences that will help you find your way around. But the waypoints are not intrusive, and they don't feel like they're too much, or they don't feel like it's making it too much like a chore or like a checklist going around this place. And it actually feels like I could use them and not feel like the world is becoming less real or feeling less real. I don't really have a problem with waypoints in general, but it's just like in certain games, I like to be able to explore the land as much as I can. And I think that a lot of games get waypoints incredibly right. And a lot of games make waypoints just the entire game, and it feels like it's too much at that point. It definitely doesn't feel too much in this game so far. This whole world looks so different now thanks to the day-night cycle, because things that looked amazing during the day look even better during the night, and some things that you can't see clearly during the night will be as clear as day and as beautiful or even more beautiful during the daytime too. And one of those aspects is the great trees in the background, the light trees in the background, that kind of stand as beacons throughout the entire game. It's kind of like a focal point. You can see them all the time. And in the nighttime, they shine so bright. In the daytime, they're kind of like this holy, mesmerizing landmark that you can see in the distance. And I think the day-night cycle with weather and weather changes really changes how you can look at the world as well. And it's one of my favorite things to see in Elden Ring so far. I fought 2 bosses in this game, and I think there is actually more bosses in this actual demo, but for now I've only seen 2 of them, and that's just because I've been exploring so much. The first boss wasn't too bad, not too difficult. In fact, I think it's probably one of the easier bosses, and that's not a bad thing entirely, and maybe it's just because I play so much Souls games myself, but I actually found the boss to be incredibly fun as well in terms of design. One of my favorite aspects about the boss in this game, and the bosses in this game so far as well, is that they're just on the map. You can see them on the map. They will be wandering around the place. There's no fog gates in this part at least. I know there probably will be fog gates later for bigger bosses, but for kind of like the mini bosses or the smaller bosses that do give you cool items after you defeat them, you'll be able to find them on the map. And don't worry, you can run away from the bosses, but unless you rest, as soon as you come back, you can pick up where you left off with the boss and it will have the same amount of health. Now, some people might be like, oh, that's stupid. I want the game to be harder. And that's fine. You can make the game harder for yourself and just stay there and fight them. But I'm saying for people that maybe want to fight the boss and don't want to, and like maybe want to regroup a bit, you can do that. And I think for at least a couple of minutes, it will stay at the same health. I'm not sure. I haven't tested it beyond that at the very least. But I think that's a mechanic that some people actually enjoy. And it's good to have more people playing the games that you love. And I want more people to play From Software games and Souls games. And I think people might be into that as well. It's not so much focused on linear exploration anymore. It's more focused on world exploration and letting people explore, and whether that's something that you're into or not, you can find out for yourself if you play it, or if you're playing the demo, you're probably going to find out too. There's new mechanics in this game, of course, as well, like jumping, there's stealth crouching, and there's a no stamina run. This was shocking to me when it first happened, or when I first saw it. You can run around this world and your stamina does not get affected. And whether that's a glitch in the demo or if that's going to happen in the real game, because I know the Dark Souls 3 stress test did have some glitches that were very different, and we thought they were mechanics at the time. But what is cool about this is that it just encourages you to run more around this world, and I think that's actually a really good idea. This game for sure encourages more exploration than ever before, and one of the things that really does encourage exploration is the horde mechanic. In this game, if you defeat hordes of enemies, depending on the amount of enemies you defeat, you will get replenished flasks, and that is your healing item. Now, why this is important is because one of the things that you might feel like you have to do as you're exploring the world is, oh no, I have barely any healing left. I better go back to the resting place so I can heal up again and replenish my flasks. But then you have to respawn all the enemies and go through the whole world again and defeat them again. This way, if you defeat a horde of enemies, which is just a cluster of enemies in any one place, you can actually replenish your flasks, leading to more fun exploration and leading to you keep going, I guess, through this whole world. And I really like that aspect too. I hope that it's kind of explored even more. I wonder how different it's going to be, because for me personally, I haven't really had to use the mechanic so much. In fact, at one point I got hit just because I wanted to like kind of use the flask and see how it worked. And it does work incredibly well. When I say that this game is like Dark Souls 3 or like Dark Souls in general, that's not an insult whatsoever. It's kind of what I wanted. I know that it's very like Dark Souls because I was able to adapt to the game very quickly, and that's just coming from the perspective of someone who's played Souls games a lot. The parry timing is pretty much the same, the backstabbing is pretty much the same, the rolling, the hitting, a lot of it is very similar, so it took no time at all to really adapt to the basics of the mechanics. You can learn how to play this game through just fighting the enemies, and that's probably one of the best ways you can do it. There is also a tutorial level which I didn't even realize was a thing until I saw it online, and I completely skipped. But what's great about From Software games and what's great about this game is that you can learn it pretty much on the fly. And the idea of this being a Dark Souls game but open world, being as an insult online, is kind of crazy to me, because this is what Souls fans have kind of wanted all along. We're getting to play this beautifully crafted game mechanically in a beautiful open world that's not as linear as it used to be. Which, don't get me wrong, I love the linear aspects of Dark Souls, the intersected map and how everything kind of connects together. But it's going to be kind of cool to see how we can explore in a world like this, just on the fly.
Greetings, traveler from beyond the fog. I am Melina. I offer you an accord.
And just like that, I was able to trigger Melina. I don't know what triggered Melina whatsoever, but this character is unbelievably interesting. She gives you your mount in the game, and the mount is one of the best aspects of the game altogether. Like, I can't talk highly enough about the mount that you get to go around in this game. It's not quite a horse, it's kind of like a stag or a steer, or maybe even it looks like some sort of animal that I won't be able to like identify completely. But this accord that you make with her, this agreement you make with her, is very Souls-like. It's very mysterious. Once again, the NPCs in this game do what they're meant to do, which is kind of give you that flavor. But because of that, we got to fight on our mount against a giant dragon. A beautiful giant dragon. When I fought the dragon in this game, it was actually really exciting. You're fighting the dragon on a mount, and this was worrying at the time when I saw it in the trailer, just because I'm always worried about horseback combat because it's never really done incredibly well. Well, I can say for sure now at this point that fighting on a mount, basically not a horse, but on horseback type combat, it works really well, and it's actually one of my favorite aspects about this demo so far. Riding around on that mount, using my sword to clip at the dragon's legs and the dragon's wings and the dragon's head, then quickly getting off the mount to attack the dragon with a cool critical hit, actually made me so happy as I was playing it. Now, one of the funniest aspects about this whole boss is that I almost had it defeated when the demo ran out of time. And did that upset me? Not one bit. With the dragon, I almost defeated it, and then my time with the stress test and network test ran out. And that can kind of be seen as a curse, but that just made me want to play this game more. I was nearly shaking. I was going around my home the whole day thinking I want to play this game. I want to play this game so badly. And it is, I think, definitely for sure become even more anticipated for me as well. And for a lot of you, I'm assuming too, who got to play it also. It is so good. And one of the things that I talked about earlier that is so true is people saying that this is very Souls-like. It's just a Souls open world game. It's like, yes, it is. And that's a good thing. This is exactly what I wanted to play, and I think it works incredibly well with the mechanics of Dark Souls. And if you are looking to play this game and you're worried that you might not be able to play the Souls games because they're a little bit too hard, this is definitely so far the easiest one that I've played in terms of accessibility, in terms of fighting enemies on the map. And that's not a bad thing entirely, it just means that they're letting you explore a bit more. With the weapon that I had, it wasn't upgraded whatsoever, and I was perfectly fine going through the world fighting 2 bosses and fighting a bunch of enemies too. So if you are worried about it, of course wait to see if you want to see if this is a game for you. But I think that even if you don't really like the mechanics of Souls, this open world is absolutely incredible. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it's very different from what I usually make, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want me to make more videos like this, please let me know. I know for now that I'm incredibly excited to see where this game goes, and I'm going to get to play more today. As for now, I will say that I can give a recommendation for this game for the little bit that I've played of it, but always make an informed decision for yourself, and don't just listen to some dude on the internet who says the game is good, because everyone's taste is different, and everyone will feel different about a game. Make sure you make that informed decision. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you very soon.